The discovery. The crystalline observation dome atop the Harmonic Research Institute pulsed with an unusual frequency, its normally steady azure glow flickering with patterns that hadn't been seen in over 3 centuries of monitoring the cosmos. Lead researcher Vexna pressed her resonance sensors against the detection panel, her crystalline appendages vibrating with mounting excitement as the reading stabilized. "Controller, verify these patterns," she hummed, her voice creating ripples in the charged atmosphere of the dome. "Third quadrant, Sol system, third planet." The ambient intelligence responded with a harmonious chord that translated to confirmation. The patterns were real, and they were unlike anything in the Institute's vast database of cosmic frequencies. Vexna's crystalline form shifted through shades of deep purple to brilliant indigo, a sign of intense scientific curiosity among her kind. The harmonious. For millennia, they had explored the universe through its fundamental frequencies, understanding that all matter, all consciousness, expressed itself through vibration. Their civilization had mastered the art of resonating with these cosmic harmonies, building their entire society on the precise manipulation of these universal songs. But these patterns, these were chaotic, unpredictable, yet somehow cohesive. They carried information in ways that defied the established laws of harmonic progression. "Isolate primary frequency bands," she commanded, her own resonance tight with concentration. The dome's interior filled with visual representations of the waves, wild, erratic lines that somehow wove together into complex, ever-changing patterns. Cross-reference with known sentient signatures. The controller's response came with a discordant note that indicated confusion. "No match found in database. Pattern suggests organized consciousness, but lacks fundamental harmonic structure." Vexna's form pulsed with excitement. Display source. The dome's atmosphere shifted, creating the 3-dimensional image of Earth. Scattered across the planet's surface were billions of tiny points of light, each emanating these strange, beautiful patterns. "Life signs confirmed," the controller noted. "Technological civilization detected. Primary anomaly. Emotional resonance patterns exceed predicted parameters by orders of magnitude." Vexna studied the readings with growing fascination. These beings, humans, according to the linguistic patterns they were broadcasting into space, experienced reality in a fundamentally different way than the harmonious. Their consciousness created ripples in the universal frequency that shouldn't have been possible for beings at their technological level. "Record and analyze all variations," she instructed, her own resonance harmonizing with the strange patterns instinctively. "Priority focus on emotional frequency bands." As the data flowed through the dome's sensors, Vexna began to understand something that would shake the foundations of harmonious society. These humans weren't just producing random variations in the universal frequency. They were singing, not with the precise, calculated harmonies of her people, but with a wild, primal force that seemed to draw power from chaos itself. Their emotions, their thoughts, their very existence created songs that rewrote the rules of harmonic science. Joy, fear, love, anger, each feeling produced unique patterns that somehow strengthened, rather than disrupted the underlying cosmic frequency. "Initiate full spectrum analysis," she commanded, her form now shifting through colors so rapidly that the dome's interior became a cascade of light. "And request immediate audience with the Harmonic Council." The controller's response came with a note of concern. "Warning. Observed patterns indicate potential disruption to established harmonic protocols. Recommend isolation and containment procedures." Vexna's resonance hardened with determination. "Override. These patterns, they're not a disruption. They're a new form of harmony we never imagined possible. Prepare full presentation for the Council. Include all raw data." As she worked through the night cycle, modeling, and analyzing the human resonance patterns, Vexna felt something she had never experienced before, her own fundamental frequency beginning to shift, to adopt traces of the wild, beautiful chaos she was studying. For the first time in her existence, she understood that true harmony might not lie in perfect order, but in the balance between order and chaos. The Harmonic Council would convene at first light, and Vexna knew her discovery would face resistance. The Harmonious had built their entire civilization on the principle that consciousness evolved toward perfect resonance with the universal frequency. These humans, with their volatile emotions and unpredictable patterns, challenged everything they believed about the nature of consciousness itself. But as she watched the swirling patterns of human resonance dance across her instruments, Vexna felt certain of one thing: her people needed this discovery, perhaps as much as they had ever needed anything in their long history of harmonic exploration. "Controller," she hummed softly, "begin preparations for potential first contact protocols." The controller's response came with a harmonic that suggested both excitement and apprehension. "Acknowledged. Caution: human resonance patterns show high potential for emotional contagion. Direct contact may result in irreversible frequency shifts." Vexna's form pulsed with what might have been, for the first time in her existence, something close to human excitement. "Noted," she replied, and welcomed. As the Earth continued its slow rotation below the observation dome, billions of human voices sang their chaotic, beautiful songs into the cosmic frequency, unaware that their emotional resonance was about to change the universe's understanding of harmony itself. The experiment. The Harmonic Council chamber thrummed with discordant frequencies as Vexna presented her findings. The 9 elder resonators, their crystalline forms a perfect spectrum of light, pulsed with varying degrees of disturbance and fascination. These patterns defy all established principles, Elder Simvox declared, their form flickering between harsh reds and morning oranges. Random emotional fluctuations should create destructive interference. Yet these humans, they somehow strengthen the universal frequency through chaos. Vexna projected the latest readings into the chamber's atmosphere. Not chaos, Elder. A different form of order. Observe this pattern, a human experience they call grief. The air filled with a complex weave of frequencies that made several elders recoil. It appears destructive, yet it creates harmonic overtones we've never achieved in our studies. Dangerous, hummed Elder Pelra, their usually steady blue light wavering. These beings could destabilize centuries of harmonic progression. Their emotional resonance is infectious. Precisely why we must study them directly. Vexna pressed. I propose a controlled experiment. 1 human subject, isolated conditions. We need to understand how they achieve these harmonics. The chamber fell into resonant silence, a rare occurrence among the harmonious. Finally, First Elder Axom spoke, their golden form pulsing steadily. Choose your subject carefully. Researcher Vexna. The consequences of this experiment extend beyond scientific curiosity. Days later, Vexna found herself studying profiles of human scientists, searching for the perfect subject. Her attention fixed on Dr. Sarah Chen, a quantum physicist whose research focused on wave-particle duality. The human's publications suggested an intuitive understanding of universal frequencies, even if her species lacked the ability to directly perceive them. The first contact was arranged with meticulous precision, a carefully modulated signal, an invitation encoded in mathematical sequences. Dr. Chen's response came faster than expected, her enthusiasm evident even in the structured language of scientific exchange. When Sarah Chen stepped into the specially prepared chamber of the Institute, Vexna experienced something unprecedented. The human's emotional resonance, unfiltered by distance and technology, created patterns that made her own crystalline form vibrate in sympathy. This is extraordinary, Sarah breathed, her dark eyes wide as she took in Vexna's shifting colors. You communicate through light and vibration. Through universal frequencies, Vexna corrected, watching in fascination as Sarah's wonder created ripples of gold and azure in the chamber's atmosphere. Your kind does as well, though unconsciously. Your emotions, they sing. Sarah's laugh sent unexpected harmonics dancing through the room. We sing. All the time. Yes. Right now, your joy is creating patterns we thought impossible. May I record them? As they worked together over the following weeks, Vexna found herself increasingly affected by Sarah's presence. The human's emotional resonance seemed to awaken new frequencies in her own crystalline structure. She began to experience echoes of what Sarah called feelings, subtle variations in her own harmonic patterns that defied categorical analysis. The breakthrough came during their third week of experiments. Sarah was describing her daughter's first steps, and the love in her voice created a harmony so profound that every instrument in the chamber registered it. Controller, analyze this pattern. Vexna hummed urgently. Analysis complete, the controller responded. Warning, pattern is self-reinforcing, detecting sympathetic resonance in all crystalline structures within range. Sarah noticed the change in Vexna's coloration. Are you all right? Your colors. They're doing something new. I am. Experiencing, Vexna replied, struggling to maintain her usual harmonic stability. Your emotions are not just patterns. They are transformative. But their discovery had not gone unnoticed. Elder Pelra's urgent summons vibrated through the Institute. Emergency Council Session. Subject: Containment of Human Emotional Contagion. Vexna's form pulsed with what she now recognized as concern. The Council feared change, feared the unpredictable nature of human resonance. But they didn't understand what she had learned, that the very unpredictability of human emotions created stronger, more resilient harmonies than their carefully controlled frequencies ever could. They're afraid, Sarah observed, demonstrating the unsettling human ability to read emotional states even in alien crystalline forms. Your people, they think I'm dangerous. Not dangerous, Vexna corrected, her colors shifting to match Sarah's concerned frequencies. Revolutionary. You make us feel. After eons of pure harmonic existence, you make us truly resonate. As they prepared to face the council, Vexna realized that the experiment had shifted far beyond its original parameters. It was no longer about studying human emotional resonance. It was about defending the value of feeling itself. And for the first time in her existence, Vexna understood why humans fought so fiercely for their emotional truths. The chamber's atmosphere thrummed with anticipation as Sarah gathered her notes. Whatever happens, the human said softly, this connection we've discovered, it matters. It's real. Vexna's form pulsed in agreement, her own frequencies now permanently altered by weeks of exposure to human emotional resonance. She had started this experiment seeking to understand human consciousness. Instead, she had discovered something far more profound. The power of connection that transcended even the universal frequency itself. The harmony. The council chamber pulsed with tense frequencies as Sarah Chen stood before the elder resonators. Unlike the previous sessions, she had brought something unexpected. A violin, its wooden form incongruous among the crystalline architecture of the harmonious. You propose a demonstration. First Elder Axalm's tone carried harmonics of skepticism. More than that, Sarah replied, her voice steady despite the waves of disapproval radiating from several council members. I want to show you what harmony truly means. Vexna, standing beside her human colleague, felt her own frequencies shift in anticipation. Over the past weeks, she had learned to trust Sarah's intuition, even when it defied conventional harmonic logic. Sarah lifted the violin to her shoulder, and the chamber fell into resonant silence. The first notes seemed to pierce the very fabric of the atmospheric harmonics. As she played, her emotions flowed through the music, not the chaos the council feared, but a complex tapestry of feeling that made the crystalline walls of the chamber sing in sympathy. Vexna watched in amazement as the elders' forms began to pulse in rhythm with the music. Even Elder Pelra, the strongest opponent of human interaction, showed traces of gold and violet in their usually stern blue resonance. This is what we've discovered, Vexna announced, her own form shimmering with excitement. Human emotional resonance doesn't disrupt the universal frequency. It enriches it. Observe. She activated the chamber's harmonic projectors, adding the pure tones of traditional harmonious music to Sarah's violin. The combination created something entirely new, a symphony that bridged the gap between mathematical precision and emotional truth. Impossible. Elder Simvox hummed, their form flickering rapidly through the spectrum. The patterns, they're stabilizing each other. Sarah lowered her violin, her eyes bright with intensity. Music is mathematics made beautiful through feeling. Your society has mastered the mathematics of harmony. We humans contribute the emotional depth that turns those equations into art. The revelation rippled through the chamber like a shockwave. Several younger resonators who had gathered to observe began experimenting with their own frequencies, attempting to recreate the complex harmonies they had just witnessed. But Elder Pelra's warning tone cut through the excitement. You don't understand the danger. Already our youth shows signs of emotional contamination. Their resonance patterns become more chaotic, less pure, less predictable. Vexna corrected, her colors shifting to match Sarah's determined frequency. But stronger, more adaptable. Watch. She projected data from their experiments, charts showing how exposure to human emotional resonance had actually increased the stability of harmonious frequency manipulation. Young resonators who had worked with Sarah showed unprecedented ability to maintain complex harmonic patterns. We're not losing our nature, Vexna explained. We're expanding it. Human emotions don't weaken our connection to the universal frequency. They deepen it. Sarah stepped forward, her presence creating subtle ripples in the chamber's atmosphere. Your people see emotions as a source of chaos. But feelings aren't random. They're responses to the complex symphony of existence. They help us adapt, grow, connect, and most importantly, they help us create. To demonstrate, she began to play again, but this time she nodded to Vexna. Understanding immediately, Vexna began to modulate her own frequencies in harmony with the violin. The chamber filled with a duet of human music and crystalline resonance that made every surface vibrate with new possibilities. Young resonators in the audience began to join in, their frequencies weaving into the harmony. Even some of the elders found themselves unconsciously contributing to the growing symphony. First Elder Axom raised their hand, and the music gradually faded. This requires further study, they announced, their golden form showing traces of new colors. But perhaps our understanding of harmony has been incomplete. Vexna felt Sarah's joy radiate through the chamber, creating ripples of light that made her own form shimmer in response. They had achieved something unprecedented, not just communication between species, but true collaboration, a fusion of rational and emotional harmony. But as the chamber slowly emptied, Elder Pelra approached them, their form dark with concern. You don't realize what you've started, they hummed softly. The traditional resonance movement grows stronger each day. They won't accept this contamination of our pure frequencies. Sarah's hand found Vexna's crystalline appendage, a gesture that sent warm harmonics through both of them. Then we'll have to prove that growth isn't contamination, she said firmly. That true harmony comes from embracing new frequencies, not fearing them. Vexna's form pulsed in agreement, even as she registered the warning in Pelra's words. They had won a battle today, but the larger conflict was just beginning. The question wasn't just about music or emotion anymore. It was about the very nature of progress itself. As they left the chamber, the echoes of their harmony still resonating in the crystalline walls, Vexna realized that their experiment had evolved into something far more significant than scientific discovery. They were pioneering a new way of being, a fusion of logical and emotional resonance that could transform both their civilizations. The challenge now would be protecting this newfound harmony from those who feared its power to change everything they knew. The discord. The warning came as a dissonant pulse in the middle of the night cycle. Vexna's crystalline form flickered to awareness as the emergency frequencies penetrated her rest chamber. The message was brief but clear. The traditional resonance movement had taken control of the main harmonic towers. Sarah, she hummed urgently into the communication crystal. You must evacuate immediately. But Sarah's response came with typical human stubbornness. I'm not leaving, Vexna. We knew this might happen. We prepared for it. The Institute's corridors thrummed with chaotic frequencies as Vexna rushed to the human quarters. She found Sarah already dressed and gathering her research materials, the violin case strapped across her back. They're broadcasting suppression frequencies, Vexna explained, her form flickering with concern. Trying to dampen all emotional resonance patterns. The younger resonators, it's hurting them. Sarah's face hardened with determination. Show me. They made their way to the observation dome, where the city spread out below them like a crystalline forest. The harmonic towers, usually pulsing with a rainbow of frequencies, now emitted a single, overwhelming tone, a pure harmonic that sought to drown out all variation. Listen, Sarah whispered, closing her eyes. They're trying to force everyone into the same frequency. But that's not harmony. It's uniformity. Vexna's sensors detected increasing distress among the city's population. The younger ones who've been exposed to emotional resonance, they can't maintain pure frequencies anymore. The suppression is causing pain. Sarah unstrapped her violin case with swift, decisive movements. Then let's give them something stronger to resonate with. Before Vexna could respond, the dome's entrance crystallized with a harsh frequency. Elder Pelra emerged, flanked by traditional movement guards, their forms pulsing with aggressive red harmonics. This ends now, Pelra announced. The human will be removed, and all emotional frequency research will be purged. But Sarah was already playing, her violin singing out a melody that carried all the defiance and passion of humanity. The sound cut through the suppression frequency, creating complex interference patterns that made the very air shimmer. Vexna felt the music resonate with her own form, and without hesitation, she added her voice to Sarah's melody. Their combined harmony, human emotion and crystalline precision, began to spread through the city's network of resonance crystals. Stop this, Pelra demanded, but their voice wavered as younger resonators throughout the city began to add their own frequencies to the growing symphony. You can't stop it, Sarah said, continuing to play. Because this isn't about humans or harmonious anymore. It's about truth. Real harmony isn't about erasing differences. It's about finding how they fit together. The suppression frequency from the towers intensified, creating a painful pressure that made even the traditional guards flicker with distress. But Sarah played louder, her music carrying not just notes but memories. Joy, sorrow, love, hope. All the emotions that made human existence so vibrantly complex. Vexna projected their experimental data into the dome's atmosphere, letting everyone see the truth. How emotional resonance strengthened frequency control, how the combination of human feeling and harmonious precision created more stable patterns than either could achieve alone. Your pure frequencies are beautiful, Sarah acknowledged, her bow never stopping. But they're like perfect mathematical equations. True, but limited. Emotions add dimensions you never imagined possible. As if to prove her point, she began a new melody, one they had discovered during their research, a piece that perfectly complemented the city's natural resonance frequency. One by one, the younger resonators began to sync with it, their forms showing new colors, new harmonies. Even some of the traditional guards found themselves pulsing in rhythm with the music, their strict formations wavering as they experienced the full spectrum of harmonic possibility for the first time. Pelra made a final attempt to activate the suppression crystals in the dome itself, but the combined resonance of human music and emotional harmony had grown too strong. The crystals shattered, raining prismatic shards that caught the light like frozen music. Listen to your own people, Vexna urged, directing their attention to the city below. Everywhere, resonators young and old were emerging from their dwellings, adding their voices to the harmony. The harmonic towers themselves began to flicker with new frequencies as their operators chose music over suppression. This is what we feared, Sarah asked softly, lowering her violin. This unity. This beauty. Pelra's form had steadied, showing traces of unfamiliar colors. We sought to protect our way of life. They hummed quietly. We never imagined that protection through suppression would cause more harm than growth through change. Vexne finished. The universal frequency itself shows us that stagnation leads to entropy. Only through adaptation, through the embrace of new harmonies, can we truly evolve. As the sun rose over the crystalline city, its light caught and multiplied through millions of resonating surfaces, each adding its own unique variation to the greater harmony. The traditional movement's attempted suppression had accidentally proved what Sarah and Vexna had been trying to demonstrate all along. That true strength comes not from enforced purity, but from the complex interplay of different voices finding their way to harmony. But as the immediate crisis passed, Vexna recognized that their greatest challenge still lay ahead. They had won the right to continue their work, but now they had to prove that this new partnership between human emotion and harmonious precision could create something greater than either civilization had imagined possible. Sarah seemed to sense her thoughts, touching her violin strings lightly, ready to compose something new. Vexna's form shimmered with what she now recognized as hope. Always. The symphony. One lunar cycle after the failed suppression attempt, the great harmonic hall stood transformed. Its crystalline architecture, once designed to maintain pure frequency isolation, now incorporated organic elements, wood, fiber, and stone, each adding its own subtle resonance to the structure's song. Sarah Chen stood at the center of the hall, her violin tucked under her chin, surrounded by a circle of young resonators. Vexna watched from the observation platform as her human colleague demonstrated the relationship between emotional expression and harmonic control. Feel the music, Sarah encouraged, drawing her bow across the strings. Don't just match the frequency. Let it move you. The young resonators, their forms shimmering with newly discovered colors, began to pulse in rhythm with her playing. But they weren't simply mimicking the sound. They were adding their own emotional harmonics, creating layers of meaning that would have been impossible just months ago. Remarkable progress. First Elder Axom hummed, appearing beside Vexna. Their usually golden form now regularly displayed subtle shifts of color, a change that had gradually spread through even the most traditional members of the council. They achieve in weeks what once took years of training. Vexna's form pulsed with pride, because they're not fighting their emotional resonance anymore. They're using it to strengthen their connection to the universal frequency. Below, Sarah had begun teaching them a new composition, one created specifically for this moment. The piece wove together traditional harmonious progressions with human melodic elements, creating something entirely new. The young resonators caught on quickly, their forms synchronizing not just in frequency but in feeling. The coalition representatives arrived tomorrow. Axom noted, their tone carrying harmonics of both anticipation and concern. Are we prepared to demonstrate the value of this integration? More than prepared, Vexna assured them, activating a holographic display of their latest research results. Look at the stability matrices. Combined human harmonious resonance patterns show a 60% increase in strength and adaptability. We're achieving harmonies that neither species could create alone. The evidence was undeniable. Since the failed suppression attempt, the Institute had documented hundreds of cases of enhanced frequency manipulation among those who embraced emotional resonance. Even more surprisingly, human students who had begun studying with harmonious teachers showed increased emotional awareness and control. Sarah's voice carried up to them, warm with excitement. Now let's try it all together. Remember, harmony isn't about being the same. It's about finding how our differences create something beautiful. The young resonators began to play, their crystalline forms creating pure tones that intertwined with Sarah's violin. The result was stunning, a perfect fusion of mathematical precision and emotional depth that made the hall itself seem to breathe with life. We're ready for a larger audience, Sarah declared later, as she and Vexna reviewed the day's recordings. The coalition needs to see this isn't just about music. It's about evolution, both yours and ours. Vexna's form shifted through shades of agreement. They'll want proof of practical applications. Sarah smiled, pulling up another data set on their shared interface. Show them this. The display filled with results from their latest experiments. Medical applications where emotional resonance enhanced healing frequencies, engineering breakthroughs where human intuition combined with harmonious precision created more efficient energy patterns, and perhaps most importantly, new forms of communication that bridged the gap between logical and emotional understanding. The next day, as representatives from both species gathered in the Great Harmonic Hall, Vexna felt a new kind of resonance building, one of anticipation and hope. The hall had been prepared with care, its crystalline surfaces now complemented by human acoustic instruments, creating an environment where both species could fully express their nature. Sarah took her position at the center of the hall, surrounded by a full ensemble of human musicians and harmonious resonators. The piece they had prepared was ambitious, a complete demonstration of how the two species could work together to create something greater than the sum of their parts. As the music began, Vexna monitored the coalition representatives' reactions. The human delegates leaned forward in their seats, their emotional resonance patterns showing clear appreciation. The harmonious representatives' forms flickered with increasing interest as they registered the mathematical perfection underlying the emotional expressions. But the true magic happened halfway through the performance. Without prompting, audience members from both species began to add their own contributions to the music. Human voices joined in harmony with crystalline tones, harmonious resonance patterns adapted to match human emotional swells. The entire hall became one great instrument, played by two species who had found a way to turn their differences into strength. When the performance ended, the silence that followed was filled with potential. Then, slowly, both humans and harmonious began to signal their approval, applause mixing with resonant pulses of appreciation. First, Elder Axom addressed the assembled delegates, their form displaying a full spectrum of colors. What you have witnessed is more than an artistic achievement. It is proof that diversity strengthens us. That growth comes not from maintaining purity, but from embracing change. Sarah stepped forward, her violin still in hand. We propose the establishment of a joint academy, a place where both our species can learn from each other, where we can explore the full potential of combined emotional and harmonic resonance. The vote was unanimous. Even former members of the traditional movement, having seen the undeniable benefits of integration, lent their support to the initiative. As the delegates filed out, already deep in discussion about implementation plans, Vexna approached Sarah. "When you first arrived, I thought we would teach you about harmony." Sarah laughed, the sound creating beautiful ripples in Vexna's resonance field. "And instead, we taught each other that true harmony isn't about perfect order. It's about finding beauty in complexity." Vexna's form pulsed with what she now confidently recognized as joy. The universe itself is both rational and emotional. Perhaps it took our two species meeting to finally understand that. Outside the hall, the city's crystalline towers had begun to pulse with new colors, new songs, new possibilities. The fusion of human emotion and harmonious precision hadn't just changed their music. It had started a transformation that would reshape both their civilizations. And somewhere in the vast cosmic frequency that connected all things, a new harmony had begun to play, one that proved that the greatest symphonies arise not from uniformity, but from the courage to let different voices sing together.